Hello, y'all. So, this morning I saw someone. I'm sorry, I did not read your screen name before coming on here, but I will thank you in the comments. I saw someone post in the thread for suggestions. I saw them post, should I just give up and move on, right? And I thought about this, I've been, racking my brain on this connection thing, and I was like, I have to talk about connections. I know how much I know about the interactions between humans that it's sort of ignorant for me to not discuss connections. However, I've consistently wanted to be in a space where I don't want to address connections in a way that is harmful or is keeping people stuck or is encouraging really the antithesis of self-empowerment, right? And so I don't think that we as humans should ever be in a space in which we are willing to accept less for ourselves, but I also think we need to have just some awareness on how to handle certain energies and certain situations and certain scenarios. And so I thought, okay, I really feel as though, I mean, honestly, it's like 11 o'clock at night. I was not anticipating a train. I really feel like I have some perspective on this topic that I could reach people with, and that if I realistically only help one person kind of build confidence within themselves to recognize that they could be accepting less for themselves than they deserve, then that's enough for me realistically. So I do want to dip my toes back into this department, but I just want to maintain my stance on it and then be a voice in this space that really discusses connections in a way that is not keeping people stuck. Okay, I'm gonna do that today. And here's the thing is that I thought about this and I was like, I want to do a reading where I'm not necessarily reading the cards. I know the cards, I know what they mean traditionally, and I wouldn't necessarily say that I rely on that, but I do utilize the traditional meanings of the many of the cards in the standard Rider-Waite deck or the standard tarot deck. And I thought it would be really fun to do a reading that is just all imagery. So the entire story that comes out is 100% intuitive based on the imagery. So I pulled some decks that have a lot of imagery in them. So I have some oracle decks and some various decks that just have a lot more artwork in them, and they're not the standard Rider-Waite system. So I'm going to, instead of using any tarot today, I'm actually going to use oracle cards and the artwork within oracle cards to sort of tell a story on what you should do in your situation. As I just thought it would be fun, and I thought it would be a little bit of a challenge for me. So let's get into it. I think this should be really fun. Here's group 1, group 2, and group 3. Group 1, I'm going to just say every song, everything that comes into play into this space and into this situation and scenario. The first song that comes out was First I Was a Robber. That Taylor Swift song. And it's interesting because when I pulled this card, I was thinking this is such a Taylor Swift vibe in this space. And it is this empty room, okay, in regards to this situation. There is a lot of emphasis here that you do have the upper hand, and it's about time that you see that. It feels like you have a moment in which you can transform yourself into everything that you've worked on and not second guess yourself. You are stepping, it's sort of like maturing in a way. It's like stepping into, it's sort of like a threshold that you have crossed. And now you're at this clean slate, right? This empty room. You have a new beginning, and you have an opportunity to show people who you are by sort of what you choose to put in this room. It's like the room of self here in this space. It's sort of everything that you've worked on coming into an awareness that these things that you have worked on have put you into a position in which you can reinvent yourself. And not reinvent yourself in a way that is inauthentic, but actually the opposite of that, in which you are not fearing yourself any longer, fearing your own authenticity, fearing your intellect or intelligence or ability to observe. Because this is sort of like an ascension. It reminds me a bit of like the Phoenix rising a little bit, right? Where you're moving into this observer status and recognizing that realistically in this space, you are selling yourself short anytime that you lose control of having the upper hand, because you know the game, you know how to play the game. And more importantly, group one, you know how to play the game from a space of good intention. So someone could have played a game on you, right? Someone could have moved with you strategically for self-motivated reasons. And I think that in this space, this could have been a space in which there was a lot of impatience surrounding the way that people viewed you, right? A lot of impatience surrounding the character that people saw you as. And it's sort of, I feel like it's just being in a space that is often misconstrued for just how much you do know, how much exists in this space, this sort of vast space that you have to operate in. And here's the thing that I feel like you are really being embodied to do in this space is to quit fighting for validation and let them be wrong about you. All right, let's go ahead and get into the imagery. What's going on in this situation? What's the story here for group one? Now, if you were paying attention in the, was that how we were going to talk now? If you listened to the intro, then you know that this entire reading is going to be telling you what to do in your situation through imagery and not through reading tarot. So this is 100% intuitive. We're going to, oh, these cards are interesting. Do you see this? I'm gonna pull them up for you, okay? So you have the Weaver, and you have the Puppeteer. Don't you dare say shit about my nails, okay? Look, I am a busy woman. I got 3 kids. I ain't got time to make my nails pretty all the time. What is this? The Assassin. I was actually thinking about getting some gel nail stuff though, and like doing my own nails at home so that they last longer, because that's the most annoying thing about nail polish. I ain't got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. All right, let's move on. We're gonna bring out some more cards for you. You have the Hunter. Okay, you are stepping up. Like, This is I'm just going to say it, like, this is a dark feminine era. The sleeper. Look at that. Such a different imagery than the rest of the cards that you have out. Bottom of the deck. The guide. Not surprised. I have come into an awareness that this collective here is that you are the teachers. I'm sorry, was that not up long enough? The fate. I really feel like fate is necessarily in this space. It's like in your hands. And then you have, here's the fate. I just feel like you can't see these down there. And then you have the astronomer. Okay. Interest. This reminds me, I don't know why, this imagery here in particular reminds me of like the imagery of what angels actually look like. Have you ever seen the artwork of what an angel looks like? They have these wings and this eye and like in the center, and all of their wings are made out of eyes. Do you see in all of these? Okay, so you have a lot of third eye stuff here. The assassin, the weaver, and this. Okay. I can already tell a story that's in this space, but we're just going to kind of go through it one by one. Well, actually, I think that there's 4 here that kind of lump together. Hang on. I'm very dehydrated, so I'm going to have probably several water breaks. I'm overcoming a virus of some sort and pretending that it's not bothering me. Okay, so you have the weaver, the puppeteer, the assassin, and the hunter. I think how to handle this situation, okay? You take what you were taught in another space. Just, here's the thing, is like there's a big message here, is that just play dumb. Just pretend like you don't know what's going on and be present. You know, good hunters are very patient. Predators are very observant. If you want to know in this space how this person that you're dealing with really feels, don't push them. Don't rush them. Don't question them. Even when things that they say are clearly things that any other person would question, you're not going to do that. You're just going to accept whatever they say. Because in this space, if you want to know the truth, then you're going to have to play along. And you're going to have to be wise in this space. And realistically here as well, you have to understand that, you know, depending on your situation, okay? Because for some of you, this is a situation in which it's like a no contact space, or there's very little information, or there's mixed signals going on, right? But you don't know that person enough for them to owe you anything. And you haven't communicated with them long enough for them to owe you anything. So keep that in your awareness, that they don't owe you anything. And you don't owe them anything either. Don't give anyone any more information than they're giving you. Don't give anyone any more effort than they're giving you. And if it goes back and forth, you're unbothered. Because the only way in this space that you're going to see a different outcome is if you move strategically. And I think here's the thing, is this strategy, and the reason that it needs to come this way is because you know that the person that you're dealing with is not seeing you. They're sleeping on you. This is the thing, is they have their eyes closed to who you are to them. They have a blindfold on to the type of human that you are. There's so much that they don't know about you. And realistically, it's because they haven't taken the time to get to know you, either out of fear or out of seeing what it is that you will handle, right? And so they haven't taken the time or the opportunity to give you enough attention or give you enough well, attention is kind of I just feel like attention is the wrong word. What is it more? So they just, I mean, it's not even about attention, because I don't think this person realistically doesn't give you any attention at all. I feel like it's more so that it's just they don't seem engaged, okay? They seem sort of apprehensive about getting to know you, or uninterested in some capacity as well. And so accept that, go and move into accept it. Rather than just giving them information without them really asking for it, and just kind of reciprocate whatever they are giving. Because if you force yourself on this person, if you force them, this energy here that you're dealing with, there is no forcing this energy to do anything. And they're very easily captivated by the unknown. So if you're operating in this space and you're just giving them everything without them doing anything for it, then essentially what you're doing in that space is you're validating somebody who's not providing any effort for the validation that they're receiving. And so why would they have to work any harder for it? They wouldn't have to. And it's not necessarily about it's not about sort of, here's the thing. Sorry, I always do that. I always go, here's the thing. It's not about wanting to play a game. It's understanding that in our society, everyone's being programmed at all times to strategize in some way and to play a game. We are consistently taught varying forms of communication and what the forms of communication mean. And so when you have somebody who is realistically a guide in communication, when you have someone who can move in a way that understands why someone else may operate the way they do, or someone who knows a little bit more. You see all the little keys that are on here in this space, right? Those keys are important in this conversation, because you have the key to unlock the door. You have the key to wake this person up. You are the fate in this scenario, and you are the maestro. Look at all these hands here. You have the weaver, the fate, the puppeteer. The person realistically that is in charge, that is leading in this space, is you. And now I do feel like the person that you are dealing with right now in this moment, I think that they're in this space, and they think that they're in this space. And I think they have a grip on this space. And so I think that they're probably expecting you to sort of operate in the way that you used to operate, or operate in a certain way. And what you're going to do is quit putting so much emphasis on it, quit overthinking it. We can get into this space, okay, in which we begin to create versions and outcomes and scenarios inside our head, and then we expect those things to come back to us. And then when they don't, we get disappointed. Well, then we sort of begin communicating based off our illusion and not off of reality. And what I mean by that is that we begin communicating to them as though the things that we expected them to do and they didn't do are a personal vendetta against us, when we have no awareness realistically whether or not that person was even aware that they were doing those things, or even purposely doing those things. So they don't owe us anything. And we're not going to know which of, if that's true or not, if we get into a space where we're already sort of pushing for an outcome when nothing's happened. So in this space, you just need to really understand that you are just as capable of strategizing. You are just as capable of accepting the effort that's being provided, and you're just as capable of being interesting enough to peek in on more often. And so I really feel like what you need to do in this space here is play along. And not just play along, but move in a way that is kind of in a way that you don't really know better. And I know that there are people that I know there are going to be people that tap into this reading and they disagree with that. And they're like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to move strategically. And I agree with you. I don't think that we should have to do that. But this is the place that we live in, okay? And this is how people are communicating and not communicating. And a lot of people are moving in fear. And if they're afraid of you, and if they're afraid of communicating with you, they won't communicate with you. So did you hear my stomach just now? It was like, so let's break up that vibe. But really in this space, it's more about that you can also shift the outcome by controlling yourself and by really leading and really moving in a space that seems as though it's unbothered. You may want a certain outcome here, and I'm sure you do, okay? But a lot of this is about knowledge, with the eyes and the symbols that are coming up. I always feel like eyes are sort of indicators of a knowing and an awareness, okay? And when I see eyes several times in a space, I feel like this is a person that is operating from quite a bit of knowledge. And I would argue, Collective One, that if your person is moving a certain way with you and you are in alignment with them, then they are probably equally intelligent, and they might just be also playing dumb. And I would argue that they've met their match. And I do think that what you need to do is quit showing all your cards to this person and match their vibe. In a way, let them lead. How are they approaching you? Are they approaching you in a way that's like, oh, I'm too stupid to know what I'm doing, or I'm just I've just been sleeping. I just don't, are they sleeping on you in a way that is, are they sort of pretending that they have their eyes closed to this? Are they in a space that is expecting you to, I guess, be in, are they expecting, what is going on here? It's like a fly coming through here. Are they sort of expecting you to accept their, accept that they don't know any better? I think that they might be. And so, okay, you don't have to defend yourself in spaces where there's nothing to defend, okay? And so what I think that you should do in this space is, in order for there to be security in this space, and in order to realistically like open this up where there is not tension, and to open this up where there's clear communication, you kind of have to at least provide the illusion that your guard is down. And so I think in this space, when they say something that is, don't question it. You're not their mother. Treat it. So if you are a feminine, or if you're a female dealing with a man, we're not mothering grown men anymore. We're not doing that. We're not saying like, oh, you really don't know? You don't know any better? That's interesting. I guess I didn't realize that you were stupid, because then that's just belittling them, right? And so rather, even if they do say something like that, and that what they're saying is a bit ignorant, you can just, whatever they say, just accept it. If they're like, I didn't know this, I had no idea, then you can be like, oh, that's unfortunate. Anyway, like no reaction really, okay? Or you can just be like, oh, okay, well, now you do. Now you do know. So that's good. At least we're all on the same page now. And really just move into acceptance. And first of all, because that makes the most sense anyway in this scenario, because if you don't have the communication in which you can really scold someone for, nobody owes you a text back. They don't, unless they are helping you pay your bills, they don't realistically owe you anything. So don't treat someone like they owe you something that doesn't even know you well enough to owe you anything, first of all. And then that'll help make this situation a little bit more bearable for you. Okay, let's move into other imagery and see what's going on in this space. What should we pull out? I'm going to, where's my fly swatter? I might just kill a fly. Where is that thing? There's a horsefly. Do you know what a horsefly is? Is that a Midwest thing to say that? Say horsefly? I don't know. It's a big fly. And I don't know where it came from, but when it flies around, you can literally hear it. It's so loud. And it just flies and flies and flies and flies and flies. It doesn't just land. And it's like, where are you? So that I can slaughter you with my... Anyway, if it comes back around, I got this bad boy. All right. It's so annoying. Can you hear it? Can y'all hear it? Oh my gosh. Just making my life miserable. What are we going to do? Okay, sorry. I'm so sorry, group one. I swear, sometimes. I wonder if people get into these readings and they're like, what is wrong with this lady? She's crazy. Are we going to do these? I don't know if the imagery in the Starseed Oracle will work, but we'll just test it out and see how it goes. All right. Oh, I just saw this pop out. Perspective. Oh, shoot. Yeah, I kind of feel like you've been operating in this space, actually. Where, or maybe it's that you're intended to operate in this space, to zoom way out and look at the equation and really be intelligent in this space. I also have I remember here as well. I also have you're not for everyone. I don't know. These just are what's at the bottom of the deck, and they just feel very... I also have I'm sorry. Now, in this space and in this scenario and with this situation with this person, I do feel like there's been a mishap. Okay? And I don't think this person that you're dealing with is really that great with communicating emotions, but you are. So you are the leader in the emotional space, and they may be leading in other areas, but you also have trust the timing. Let's see. What else do you have in here? We didn't even shuffle. We're just pulling. Oh, that's so interesting. I didn't want to pull out the Great Severing. I saw it and I was like, I don't know if that's the right card. And then I just shuffled and this dang thing come out. I swear, sometimes I need to just say things. I'm going to kill that fly. It's right there. Hang on. Hold up. Oh, you would not land where you... little sucker. Of course it would land right there. Don't come over here. It's a death trap. This is so funny. I can't stand that noise, though. I can't channel with that noise going on. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like this bzzz. Oh. This reading is a shit show. Oh my gosh. I'm just unhinged. I swear. Anyway, the Great Severing is here. I do think that this has been a space where you're either in separation with this person, or you had a falling out, or there was just some kind of way in which you operated, probably really on both sides, okay, that of the coin, okay, in which you just mishandled one another. And I think if you really want to communicate, then it's going to have to be sort of starting over. It's like a clean slate, okay? And you're really going to have to move in a way that is approachable. And, I think this person might just need to be approached in a very certain way so that they can trust you. And it's not building in trust with somebody because out of like, to manipulate them or to, anything malicious, but it's just for them to trust you, okay? Or for you to trust them. And this is really, it's really advising you to, I just feel, honestly, Group 1, in this space that there is a collective experience of really being misunderstood, and that being just such a frustration that you have. And it's kind of this thing that is like, it's really like you have to build into an awareness that if you have a level of comprehension on various topics or scenarios or communication or behaviors within people, you have to accept that way of like complex thinking or critical thinking, it's not common. So like the amount of people automatically that are going to be able to tap into comprehending you and understanding you on an intellectual level, or being able to communicate with you or see you in your own authenticity, or see you for all that you are, it's already such a minuscule space, right? It's microscopic. And it's because you are a leader. You are you stand out because you are different. And there's nothing wrong with that. Well, there's everything right with that, group one. Everything right with that. But in this space, this expectation that you build surrounding connections and expecting them to comprehend you and to be able to communicate with you, it really trips you up. And then you end up fighting for them to see you. And then they just see you even more. You know what I'm saying is like, then they really don't see you. Then all they're seeing is your defenses. And they cannot get beneath that surface, or get beyond that barrier, because that barrier is realistically sort of a sense of survival. It's seeking outcomes, it's seeking validation, seeking to be seen. Show up as you, as yourself, and also don't move into any space in which you feel you have to fight to feel seen. Don't do that. If this person isn't seeing you for who you are, you can't force them to. So you really have to move in a way that creates safety within the like, you can't push them to see you. You can't force them to see you. And also, collective one, we are not going to go out of our way either to expose ourselves to someone that we feel isn't seeing us. Do you know what I'm saying? And okay, expose ourselves, really? That's the word we're going with? I don't mean, like, it just sounds wrong. I mean in a way where, okay, example of this, say you like somebody, say you like a person, and they're not communicating with you. So you start posting things that are like messages realistically to that person, but it's because you want them to know more about you, or you want them to see you for who you are, and they're not communicating with you, so then you're posting it for everybody, right? You're seeking validation in that space. And so don't do that. How can they, like, they don't need, you know what I'm saying? Like, in that space, then this person that likes you or whatever, they don't need to message you about the things that you like. You just posted it for everybody to see. You know what I mean? So you kind of have to be a little bit more strategic about what you're posting. And like, if you want people to be curious about you, then say less. All right? I really feel like that's the whole message for you here, group one. And sort of how to handle this situation. I think I am going to dive into communicating on connections a little bit more often. If you resonated with this, please like and subscribe to my channel. Leave me a comment down below. Join our tribe. We'd love to have you here. Thank you so much, group one. Enjoy the rest of your day or night or afternoon or whenever you are watching this. Thank you so much for being here and spending your time with me. Enjoy your day. We have to go get water. Break time. Group 2. What should you do in this situation? Okay, so if you skipped over the intro, we're doing this all in imagery today. This is all going to be oracle cards, and we're just going to follow the imagery that comes out in these cards. Everything will be in the upright, and how we're going to inform you what to do rather than reading tarot. We're actually going to read the imagery within the cards and then hit intuitively that way. So it's so interesting because in the group 1 space, I actually was in advising them to not really put themselves out there. But in this space, I think that your person, the person that you're dealing with in this situation, would be so bothered, really, by the fact that other people are interested in you. So what's interesting in this space, group 2, is that how to handle the situation for you is so much different. Hold on, let me make sure that my camera is right, because I had a fly problem in the first one where I accidentally hit the thing. I was literally like swatting at a fly because it was buzzing around here, and I got this huge horsefly in the house, and the thing is massive. It doesn't sit, and when it does, I cannot find it, but when it's flying around, it is the most annoying thing ever, and it's so difficult to channel in that space. So anyway, I hit the camera when I was doing that, so just making sure all is good in the hood. Okay. Anyway, in this space, I really do feel like, you know what? It just reminded me, in my last relationship, how I handled my breakup of 7 years with a really shady person was to act very unbothered by it. And I remember people were like, wow, you're handling it so well, you're so confident, and you're this and you're that. And I was like, wow, I am doing a really great job at making the entire world around me think that I'm just golden. And I was really hurting, actually, but I did not want anyone to know that I was hurting in that space, so I just didn't deal with it, I guess. But what I did do was I just reminded them over and over the choice that they had just made by putting myself out there for other people to enjoy. So it's really interesting that in this space, like, whatever you're dealing with or whatever kind of person you're dealing with, I kind of feel like the response realistically should be somewhat similar to that I was just talking about, is like doing things to kind of... Now, here's the thing, though. I don't want you to operate ever, collective 2, in a space that seems to be seeking validation. And there's a really fine line in that, sort of where you're posting maybe pictures of yourself or things like that, can actually come across to the wrong type of people that you are needing attention. So there has to be a way for you to kind of lure in... Oh, this sounds like, it just sounds like I am, that we all just stepped into our dark feminines and we're like fuck it. This is a Taylor Swift moment. Oh my gosh. But it kind of feels that way. But only it's like, I think it's just a done collective, realistically. I feel like we're just done being messed with. And it doesn't mean that we're like that we're bad people, you know, but it's like, I feel like for your group, I just really feel like you're in a space of like reminding someone or others who the F you are, you know? And I think it has a lot to do with your allure. I feel like you maybe have been in a space where you just don't put yourself out there at all, or you very seldom put yourself out there. And so I think it's like, and I don't, for many of you, I don't think it's like because you don't, because you aren't attractive or any of that kind of stuff. You know, I think it's just really, ironically, for some of you, it's actually that you don't want the attention. And I think but however, I think the attention that you get from others in this space is really going to trip up those who have kind of stepped sideways with you. I had watched this thing a long time ago about like how to handle certain energies and that were kind of like manipulative or were making you feel like you weren't good enough, right? And it was to just post the quote by David Bowie that is, I don't know where I'm going, but I know it won't be boring, because that would really be a hit to their ego. And so even something like that you could do. But all right, let's get into your imagery, huh? The botanist. I really feel like there is, like, in this space for collective too, I think there are a lot of you that are just very feminine energies, but also just really beautiful people. It doesn't necessarily mean that you are beautifully aesthetic, but in some ways, like, it does give that vibe. Like, you have, like, kind of a heartbreaker vibe, but really have kind of been jaded in that space and haven't really... You've kind of just, like, in some ways, collective too, I feel like it's there for some of you. It's, I don't want to say let yourself go, okay? That's not like I just feel like that's an inappropriate commentary. Oh, we have the Queen on the bottom of the deck and the Catalyst. Interesting, like, so much of this is so pretty, you know? It's much different than the last space. I just want to say that. So interesting. It's such a different hit energetically. Let me just make sure I'm not cutting off that bottom row. Anyway, so, but for some of, I just feel like it's like you're just really kind of, you keep to yourselves a little bit. But you have this energy to you that is... It's very feminine. Okay, so you have that siren vibe. The thing about feminine energy, or very, like, strong feminine energy, is that it's very alluring, okay? It's very receptive, okay? It kind of, it allures things to us. And so with the siren being here, that's something that a siren does as well, right? The siren, now granted, the siren also is very dangerous once you get lured in. So we got to be careful here in this space, because I don't want you to be that part of the, you know, the luring. I don't want you to be bad, you know. But I do feel like what you need to do in this space is remember who you are. It just consistently comes up in this collective 2 energy anyway, but it's like, it really does feel like a transformation in appearance, or in a transformation in aesthetically in some way, is something that's going to help you the most in this space. It's like, don't cut your bangs, but like, I mean, I really hate the no, don't cut your bangs thing, because I actually look really cute with bangs. So, and I've been thinking again about like really just doing a whole haircut and like chopping my hair. I have really long hair. My hair is like down to probably the middle of my back. And my bangs right now are down to like, I don't know, my chin, or just above my chin. And I've always had I've had bangs before, and they're super difficult to maintain, but they're very cute actually. And I've been thinking about doing bangs recently, but I was like, oh, the maintenance for it, But anyway, and so, I mean, you could, if you think bangs are cute, then cut them. Fuck that stupid scenario. Anyway, sorry for swearing. But I feel like this is something that in this space, it just is gonna help you feel better about yourself, I think. It's just to do some sort of like, have a, this sounds so stereotypical, and I'm really sorry that it comes across in that way, but I just feel like for some of you, you have not done this in a while. You haven't really focused on pampering yourself in this way, or doing something for yourself that is sort of a, just a makeover kind of thing. I think a makeover is something that actually would really, I mean, this is weird to say it, but I do feel like that's something that kind of would help in this space a little bit, to get you into a bit of self-confidence, just to have some sort of, clean slate in how we feel about ourselves. Because I do feel like your ego, or your, not necessarily ego, but your self-confidence has really been kind of knocked down a peg, or you've kind of put yourself on the back burner. And it's because it's, you have some stuff coming out here too, like the cartographer, the sentinel, which the sentinel too for me is like a very guarded energy. And then you also have the catalyst too here, and all of this imagery here, like of things blooming, and roses are so, very beautiful, and very pleasant to look at. And they're also very, like, they're very feminine. They're also, I mean, they also are, there's some quality too here hit about they're beautiful, but they're also, you don't want to just grab a rose, like there's a thorns in them. You're gonna get you're gonna get hurt. So it kind of moving into, I guess this like energy that whatever you can do to really be in a state in which you are solid within your confidence is really what you can do in this situation. And how you can take control of it is by, I mean, really being unbothered by people who aren't seeing you for the beautiful gem that you are. Duh. But but also just needing, it could be in a space of stagnancy here as well, just within self, right? And just feeling like you need something to kind of lift you up out of this funk, and some kind of makeover, or some kind of just new beginning in how we feel about ourselves. And there are various ways to boost confidence, and one of those actually is to get a haircut, or do it like, this is so, I am not a superficial person, and y'all know that in this space, right? So like, I'm literally, the words are coming out of my mouth right now, and I'm like, this is the most superficial conversation ever. But we know that these things, whether or not it's superficial, is realistically irrelevant, because when we go and we get a new, we get a fresh haircut, or we get like new clothes, or we feel better about ourselves. It's a fact of life. And so this is like, do something for yourself, just for yourself. Maybe many of you haven't done that in a while. Uh, to remind yourself of who you are, and to boost your confidence a little bit. And this will, like, put you in a bit of a alluring state. It'll remind you again, just put some pep in your step a little bit and remind you that you are beautiful or handsome, or whichever. Or even, it doesn't even have to be so much that. It's just a feeling, right? It's not necessarily about an aesthetic. It's about how you feel about yourself. Water break. Isn't my water bottle so obnoxious? I bought this thing for like, how much are you? Actually, $5 at the Dollar General. And it's just the most obnoxious thing, but it does what it needs to do. Ain't no Stanley cups in this house, baby. Sorry. We ain't bougie here. Not that there's anything wrong with your Stanley cup. Don't shoot the messenger. Don't unfollow me or unsubscribe because I said that, please. We gotta stop. We gotta get out of a space of taking everything so offensively. Don't you agree? Yes. Okay, so what else do we have here? What can group 2 do about this situation? What just fell on the floor? Star bathing. Isn't that funny? Yeah, it's almost like, this is so funny, but it really is like you just need some pampering. You need to forgive yourself. You need to, it's kind of like, I just feel for some of you that you've been in this process of just, it's almost like you're just so stressed out or overwhelmed, or you kind of get into the monotony of life and you don't realize the spaces or the areas that we let ourselves go, or we just get into these routines, and then suddenly it's like, oh man, I haven't bought myself anything to make myself feel good in a while. I haven't had a haircut and, whatever. I haven't gone and done my hair. I haven't gone and done my nails. I haven't, all these things that, whatever it is for you, that you just haven't done for yourself in a long time, actually kind of do impact how you feel about self. So it's kind of like, I just feel like there are just some of you who have kind of just been so busy with the, life or whatever, that you haven't even done things to feel good about yourself. And this is like, honestly, it's like what you need to do most in the situation is that. And this is Child of the Cosmos coming out. Yeah, it's just giving this really like sensual feeling in this space. It's just a lot of like self-care stuff, really, in this space. That it is sort of what you're being called to kind of do, is just put some love into yourself. Yeah, this imagery here in this, it kind of reminds me of like, I was just gonna say like an egg, and then I had cracked open on the bottom of the deck. Let's see, we'll move these up. But it kind of reminds me of like, being in the womb, I guess, a little bit, or being in, just kind of like being rebirthed a little bit, and going through a bit of a cocooning, in order to come out the butterflies. So it's kind of just like interesting, because in this space, what you seem to be intended to do in this situation, group 2, is to really put some care into yourself. And I think that will help you to at least build your own confidence in this scenario, uh, and kind of just give you a little bit of a fresh start or a pick-me-up to remind yourself that you are a beautiful person who deserves to feel good about themselves. So, all right, that is the message for you, group 2. If you resonated with this, please like and subscribe to my channel. Leave me a comment down below. Be a part of our tribe. We would love to have you here. Thank you so much for being here, group 2. Enjoy the rest of your day or night or afternoon or whenever it is that you're tapping into this reading. Have a wonderful day. Thank you. Group 3. Hello, group 3. So if you skipped over the intro, just really quick, we're going to do this whole reading in imagery, and we're going to read intuitively via oracle cards through the story that the imagery tells. So we're not going to actually do any tarot in this space, and the entire message is going to be intuitive through the imagery. I had this song coming in, and I'm like aggravated because I know the song, but it's like one of those moments where you hear something and it's like you can't put your finger on it and you can't grasp at the data surrounding it, and it's like you know it, and eventually it'll just pop into your head, but in the moment that you need it you can't grasp it, which is really interesting in the sustainer space. Actually, I think at this moment is not without purpose, but it's like the part of the song that I kept hearing was like, hold on, it's coming. And I was like, what is this song? And I know it's a song that I know, and I cannot think of it in this moment, and it's driving me mad. But it's like I know the song. I know that I know the song well, and so the interesting thing is that you have this sustainer space, and it's almost like in this space, it's like how do I say this? It's like you're in a moment, you're in a space right now that you realistically cannot get out of. It's kind of like it's like you're stuck, okay? And I do feel like some people coming into this, like the collective 3 space in this moment, and in this situation and what you're dealing with, it's like you don't really have a way out. And you're kind of just enduring. It's driving me nuts that I cannot think of that song. And normally, like normally it would bother me, but in the energy that you're in here, group 3, it's like I can't focus on what I need to focus on because that thing is distracting me so much. And it's really like taking out all the energy. So I feel like there's something in your environment. Gosh, sometimes readings like this really bother me. I feel like there's something in your environment that is taking up it's taking up a lot of your energy. And it's putting you in a space where you can't realistically move forward or backward. You know, it's like it's really like, you know that phrase where it's like, you are not a tree, because, you know, it's supposed to imply that trees are stuck. And in this space, it feels very like a stuck energy. Oh, wait. So it goes, hold on, it's coming. Don't worry, it's coming. What is that song? Anyway. Oh, you hear my stomach crawl? It's like dead silence, and then my stomach is like... It's like, let's break up the weird vibe. Thank you. Bodily organs. Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah, because I don't want the energy here realistically to be super heavy, but I do just feel like you are in a moment, and with that Sustainer card coming out, I don't think it's just without purpose. It just feels like you're just in a space, you're just dealing with something that really does make you feel stuck. Okay, let's go into the energy here and like what your cards are coming here. You have the Muse, the Waker. Oh, very so interesting. The Twins. Huh. Okay. I just have to say this because the imagery is so literally, it's like this reminds me of like yin and yang a little bit. The energy in this space and the information coming out in this space is sort of like the opposition to the space in group 1. And so, interestingly enough, group 3, for some of you, not all of you, for some of you, if your person were to tap into this is not great. Because I know what's in the first one. I know what is in the group 1 space. But so anyway, we gotta say it. For some of you, if your person were to tap into this reading, your person, I feel very strongly that your person would tap into the group 1 space. Because this is kind of like the opposing energy a little bit. It's like the other end of the spectrum. And because these are so opposite, but so similar, which is very twinny, or reflective, or yin and yang, energy, where anyway, let's just keep going. Yeah. Oh, I just have this come out, baby, because I just gotta say this. This is the Forgotten. okay, you have to watch. Okay, I'm just gonna say that you have to watch the group one space, and I think I might tell group one as well, but you gotta watch the group one space to see just literally how polar opposite this imagery is for the group one space, and how it's like it's opposite of your energy here, but it's literally like the same thing. It's like the other end, it's like the other side of the spectrum, but all the imagery is so similar. Fascinating. This is fascinating. As I'm in it, this is interesting. This is so fascinating. I'm very amused right now. Oh, goodness. This is so interesting. Okay, sorry. I'm sorry. I'm having a moment. Forgive me. It's interesting, okay, because in this energy you do feel stuck, you do feel but a lot of this imagery indicates that you might have a history of self-sabotaging a little bit, but more so that it's like you're not as stuck as you think you are. So it feels like what you need to do in this space is really allow yourself to feel more, to let people in more than you are. Because in some respects, in this space in which that you're operating in this sustainer space, it's okay. How do I express this to the outside world, to the energies that could be interacting with you? It just feels like you're very guarded, and also like you don't want to let anybody in, but it's just there's so much unknown in the energies that deal with you. So it what's weird about this space is that it's almost like you need to be more willing to give more of yourself to others, to, in this scenario and in this situation, to express yourself more, to open up. Well, that's interesting because I was going to say more than that, and I kind of stopped myself there and at open up, and so it's kind of like just open up. It's like it's in some capacity, this like energy that you're sustaining is like, what are you sustaining in this space? What is it that you are I guess unwilling to sort of compromise, but also unwilling to give more of yourself too. And also, group 3, there has to be an awareness as well that not all energies that approach you are intended to harm you. Now, I'm just going to be like, the interesting thing about the group 1 space is like the advice for the group 1 collective actually was to move more strategically in order to open up safety for communication, because they were dealing with an energy that was really fearful, and the only way that they were going to be able to get that person to trust them was to like really operate in a way that is just very like secure, by literally playing dumb to anything that's approached them. Because I do feel like the energy that is connecting in with the group 3 space just doesn't, is just keeps a lot of information from them, and doesn't really tell them how they really feel, or really isn't really that giving to them at all. And it's very difficult for the group 1 space. And it's so interesting because in the other area, it's like to them, they really feel like the person is really sleeping on them. And here in this space, it's like what this side of the equation is really being called to do is like to kind of wake up, and to like, you know, be more lively and to be more giving, and to uh really lead a lot more in specifically in communication. You have the muse and the patron and the storyteller here, and it's like you are really intended to be a lot more open in this space. And so what your sort of advice is in this space, and what you are intended to do, and how this is going to, how you would be able to move in this space, would be to open up more and to give more, and to not be so guarded, and to not be so closed off, and to really ask yourself what it is that you are sustaining in this space. Because some element of this is it's like, it's almost like what you're sustaining is really the barrier around you that others can't access, or you know, they're not allowed through. um and so in this space, and what you know, what you really need to do is kind of, I don't think you should completely let your guard down by any means, okay? But I do think that you should be a little bit more trusting that not everyone who approaches you is intended to harm you. And I just, for the record, group 3, I really, really resonate into this space with you. And I know what that's like. And the very interesting thing is that I also simultaneously resonate into the group 1 space as well. But I do know what it's like to be in this energy. I am in this energy, actually. Realistically, I'm in this energy quite a bit. And I don't think that you should let your guard down to all people. I think that actually the boundaries that you are building in this space are necessary. But at some point in this process, we do get to a point where we just sort of, you see this forgotten thing. I don't think this is without purpose, that this person here is just away from all the, you know, all this is going down here, and all this stuff is here, and then this person's just way out there. You can become isolated in this space. You can really isolate yourself, and connection is very vital for our individual growth and our well-being. And who we surround ourselves with matters. I have just a really quick story. Okay, so like today I was in 2 entirely different environments. And the one environment I was in, I consistently feel uncomfortable in it, and I just have to accept that. And it really just puts me in a certain energy. It puts me in a certain funk. I don't know what it is. I just can't, I have to take it in very small doses, because it triggers me realistically. Like it's just, there's no way to slice it. It just does. The energy that exists there puts me on guard, and I feel on guard in that space, and I don't know how to get out of it. So anyway, I was in an environment with that energy today. And then I went out and I did, I was surrounded by a good group of like really wonderful people and children. And, for what I do as a career, I'm a photographer, and I photographed a big, large family today. And I like my energy going out there and leaving there was like night and day, because I was surrounded by all these really genuine, uplifting people that they really they liked what I was there to do, and we were all having fun, and it was enjoyable. And so it was like, it was just really uplifting and positive. And on the way home, actually, I thought about that, and I thought about how the energy that you surround yourself with is so vital, because on the way out, I had a real poor attitude driving out there. Not because I didn't want to do the thing. I was just in an energy, and I was ruminating in it. And then I experienced that, and I came home, and I literally have been in the polar opposite energy since that moment, because I socialized with people that were genuine and kind, and they weren't draining, and they weren't aggressive. They didn't have me on guard, so like, I just feel like this story, oh, interesting, is really important in this space, and hopefully there's something that you take away from that. Okay, but it's really important. Who you surround yourself with really does matter. Okay, all right, let me get you, where are we going here? Just I'm gonna pull from the Star State Oracle for you, group 3, and then we'll close out your reading and what it is that you need to do. All right. Oh, what should group 3 do about this situation, please? Oh, yeah. Interesting. You just be very sensitive, very like, this is kind of like a bleeding heart empath space a little bit. And so I think that energies actually do really kind of, I think you're very sensitive to various energies. Oh goodness, here's the void. I'm just like, gosh, group 3, you really have to go watch group 1's reading, because I really do feel like your person is in group 1. I gotta remember that for this video. This is like so interesting. I don't think I've had this occur in a while, actually, where it's like, if you and your person were to tap into a reading, your person would tap into group 1, and you would tap into this group. That's so interesting. Because this is also the opposite in the other space. And now I'm starting to feel a little bit apprehensive about telling you to go to the group 1 space, because I know what I was saying in that space, but I think it was just I didn't have an awareness yet of your energy. And so take that with a grain of salt a little bit. And I'm going to tell group 1 also to listen to your reading. So hopefully that softens them a little bit on how to approach the situation, because when I moved into it, it was just like, I understood where they were coming from in this space. When you deal with really guarded energies, it feels like you have to move strategically, because it feels like they're being moved strategically with. So, so interesting. But they had sort of a card like this as well that was really the opposite imagery of this. And for you, group 1, or group 3, sorry, it's almost like this void that's being created here is actually this sort of absence of like accessibility, really, in being able to kind of get to know you, even, or really feeling like like they can't trust you. And so it's almost like you kind of have to give a little bit more of yourself in this space. And really kind of dive into it, and also move into a space that's like, I think one of the things that exists in this space here in the group 3 space really is kind of this like, and this realistically, this exists in all 3 spaces, is like this fear of getting hurt, right? And it's something that we have to like build into an awareness within connections, that we always risk that possibility when we're entering into a connection with another person. We always risk the possibility that we're going to get hurt in a certain space, right? And I think in this space, it's like, to me, it just feels like you don't have it in you again to kind of endure that again. And so you're almost just avoiding it altogether. And in a sense, just kind of prolonging your own happiness in a way. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel that's so interesting to see that sort of really. This is, and not to get all weird on us, because I actually don't like the twin flame analogy. I think that that narrative is very harmful in our society, because many people seem to misconstrue emotional abuse as though it is a twin flame journey, and that's really dangerous territory. But for like an authentic soul contract that would kind of fall in line with that. First of all, twin flames are very, like, they operate with unconditional love. So they really do have a lot of care for the other person. This is not somebody who would purposely harm you, but they would inadvertently harm you just by being triggered by the connection. Anyway, this just feels very twin flamey. I can't believe I just used the term twin flame. Ugh. Please take that term with a grain of salt, and use your own discernment in this space, because you will know if somebody is realistically moving with good intention with you. And I happen to know the message in the group 1 space, and I know what I told them, and so that, so like, in some way that could even, like, the wrong type of energy listening to that could, move. I mean, I think I said, anyway, it's just go listen to the reading. I just feel like I'm just like gonna, I don't know. I just feel like I have a shovel right now, and I'm just digging a hole, and I'm like, just like all the way down in it. Like, I don't know what to do. But it's just like the dichotomy between these 2 readings is like, that's so glaringly apparent that I can't not mention it, because it's literally like the polar opposite. It's very, very, very interesting. Yeah, so I don't know. You can tell me, actually, I mean, go and listen to that one. And if, I don't know, this is really, really interesting reading. Okay. If you resonated in with this and you would like to hear more, or you would like to see more videos from me in the future, please like and subscribe to my channel. Leave me a comment down below. We'd love to have you here. Thank you so much, group 3. Thank you for being here. Enjoy the rest of your day.